Thanks for inviting us in. It's now 11 o'clock. Tonight marks 11 years since a quadruple murder horrified a neighborhood on the northwest side of Indianapolis. And now a family is asking for answers years after prosecutors dismissed those charges against the man once accused of killing them. Our Alex Almanza joins us tonight from the newsroom. So Alex, bring us up to speed about what happened.
Yeah, to start, 13 News is not naming the man who was previously accused of the murders because he's no longer facing charges in this case. As for the victim's family, they're outraged that prosecutors dropped the charges 4 years ago after the state found significant evidentiary challenges. All that's left of that horrific March 24th day in 2015, an empty lot where a house once stood.
You can't necessarily bring them back. It's just what's done is done.
Taylor Betty says it's probably better that way. Once a crime scene, now the site of an annual vigil. 11 times the family has stood here 11 years later, and they're still pleading for help.
I want them to dig. I want them to actually try to get this close.
After the murders of Taylor Betty's mom, Terry Betty's, her brother Devon Whitlock, cousin Tiara Turner, and friend Sherry Taylor, the case went unsolved. Then 4 years later, new evidence gave investigators a lead. They arrested a man only for prosecutors to drop the charges.
So when are we gonna get peace? When are we gonna be able to get that peace? And we never, and then y'all just vanish.
Court documents reveal how the charges were scrapped after key witnesses died. Then the state says DNA testing results were compromised and not admissible. Now, over a decade later, no one is behind bars for the murders.
Very painful. Sometimes I just start crying out of nowhere because I feel her energy. I just wish I met her.
10-year-old Terry Betty's embodies his grandmother Terry's name. He and baby Canary will never get to meet their 4 family members, now only remembered in pictures, and a fight for justice, living on in future generations.
I wish my grandma.
I wish I got to meet you.
And I wish I meet you.
And I love you.
I love you.
State records show the man who had those charges dismissed is currently in prison serving time for a separate crime he committed in 2022. Now, we reached out to the Marion County prosecutor, Ryan Mears. He was not in the office when the murders happened, but was in office when the charges were dismissed. Mears was unavailable to talk to us. Scott.
All right, Alex, thanks so much. A first draft of Haley's Law is tonight heading to Indiana lawmakers next week. This proposed legislation is backed by the parents of Haley Busby. She was picked up from her home in Fishers, taken to Ohio, and killed earlier this year. This law would create a pink alert system for missing people and kids who do not meet the requirements for an amber or a silver alert. This would cover cases with credible evidence of online grooming, contact with predators, and indicators of trafficking or exploitation. This would also require a portal for pink alerts showing active alerts, identifying information, and a way to submit tips. It would also put an emphasis on teaching kids in school how to recognize grooming behaviors and identify warning signs. Again, this is only a draft and it has not been taken up by lawmakers yet. Haley's family plans to deliver it to them next week for consideration during next year's legislative session. A statement from Haley's father, Bo, tonight says there is still far too much work to do and so much of it is long overdue. Our children deserve better. Now is the time where we can lead from the front, Indiana, and make this legislative session about protecting our children. Haley, as you know, disappeared back in early January. Police tell us Tyler Thomas led them to the body of the 17-year-old girl. Court documents say Thomas admitted to communicating with Haley for more than a year online before traveling with the girl to Ohio. Thomas is currently facing federal charges in the case, but he is not charged with her death. There's now a June deadline for prosecutors to indict him. Tonight, a Plainfield man was just sentenced to 50 years in prison for shooting a pregnant woman in a case of road rage. 39-year-old Curtis Cutler was found guilty of multiple charges, including attempted murder. Investigators say Cutler shot multiple rounds into a car, hitting the woman. All of this unfolded in March of 2023 near Township Line Road and Dan Jones. Prosecutors say doctors had to perform an emergency C-section to save her child. Both of them survived.
Temperatures right now in the 40s across central Indiana. Won't be nearly as cold early tomorrow morning, but cold enough that you'll still need a jacket. Early morning temperatures in the upper 30s and low 40s. We get into the upper 60s and low 70s. Clouds, some sunshine around tomorrow, and then we'll turn our attention to Thursday. Already a weather impact alert day due to the threat of severe weather from Thursday night through the early part of Friday. Those thunderstorms may produce hail, damaging winds, and an isolated tornado. I'll have an early look at the timeline and the severe threat in a few minutes.
All right, we'll see you then, Angela. Thanks. Consumers here in the U.S. can't seem to catch a break with costs going up seemingly everywhere we spend. Now the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission is working to get some answers about the rising price of power. The IURC just met with and questioned the 5 largest electric companies in the state of Indiana: AES, Duke, CenterPoint Energy, Indiana Michigan Power Company, and Northern Indiana Public Service Company. Each of these companies laid out how they determine rates and address affordability. Leaders with the IURC say this inquiry is only the beginning. Next, they'll go out across our state and talk to customers. Chairman Andy Zay says they hope to release findings from today's meeting in the next month or two.
We want our utilities at the most affordable rate possible, but as a state, we want to meet the economic development of the future. And in a simple equation, those don't add up. So what is the coefficients? What are the efficiencies?
So if you'd like to attend one of these IURC listening sessions, we've got a list of the dates and locations right now over on WTHR.com. From power to the pump, the price of gas has jumped nearly 20 cents since yesterday. We just checked Gas Buddy tonight, so here in Indy, it's going to cost drivers between $3.70 and $4.20 a gallon for regular fuel. So I want to show you how this evolved recently. Numbers from AAA really tell the story. The average price today here in Indiana, $3.97. That's up from $3.80 yesterday. A month ago, the price was $2.76. So we talked to Hoosiers today who use their cars to make deliveries for places like Amazon or DoorDash. They tell us with this rise that we're seeing in costs, it's barely even worth it to do these kinds of jobs. In fact, one single mom told us this all comes down to making hard choices.
Even though it is hard out here, that we have no choice but to keep going. And there's people like me, we have no choice but to get gas. And, you know, we can't just stop and walk or ride a bike or catch Indigo if we have a toddler. We try to have a weekly balance of dinner. So lately I have been having to have the same meal preps in rotation. And also with getting clothes and budgeting.
We should note gas prices always go up around spring break. Last year, the price of gas here was $3.17 a gallon. Well, the rules of the road are changing on the northwest side of Indianapolis. Right now, 29th and 30th are transitioning from one-way to two-way streets. Indy DPW crews are just getting started on the nearly $14 million conversion project. This will eventually end at Central and Meridian. Leaders of this project tell us it's going to calm traffic, eliminate confusion, and make the entire area more friendly for pedestrians and cyclists, like Anthony Chirolis.
Incorporating safer design concepts as they go. So rather than just putting back the same unsafe design, the city is improving safety and connectivity to local businesses and neighbors.
This is the first phase of this project, starting at Riverside and then stretching to I-65 before DPW gets to phases 2 and 3. The hope is to have all that work finished by the fall of 2027. Here's a look at the other stories making headlines right now. Tonight, the city of Westfield is moving forward with plans to build a new housing project called Ironstone. Renderings show what the development will look like: 1,700 single-family homes and townhouses, plus a mixed-use district with apartments. It'll be located just north of Grand Park and is expected to be finished over the next 10 to 15 years. The city council signed off on that project last night. The Indianapolis Capitals are also coming to Westfield. They'll be playing at Grand Park. The Caps, as they're known, will be part of the Continental Football League, which relaunches this summer. This guy on the west side of Indianapolis is having a hard time. You've probably seen Mr. Bendo along 16th Street, even if you didn't know his name. Investigators say someone crashed into him early Sunday morning. The driver damaged the statue and left a big hole in the side of Ralph's mufflers. Mr. Bendo is one of the few remaining giant muffler men across the country, highlighting pipe benders in the industry. Right now, police are looking for the driver. DPW crews just wrapped up work along Zionsville Road. They posted this photo on social media today showing progress between 62nd and 71st. They say they did some strip patching because it's more efficient and cost effective. The band Counting Crows is coming to Carb Day. They'll perform May 22nd ahead of the 110th running of the Indianapolis 500. Switchfoot is also performing. The 2026 Miller Lite Carb Day concert happens inside Turn 3 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.